Welcome to the 97 Republic YouTube channel, where I react to UFC news and live events. So I kindly ask that you hit the like button and the subscribe button, as that would really help this channel grow. And to ensure that you don't skip a beat, feel free to click the notification bell as well. That way you can ensure that you don't miss any of the action. I really hope you enjoy this one. In today's video, taking a look at Magomed Ankalaev's professional mixed martial arts career, as he is set to face Alex Pereira for the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship this weekend at UFC 313. So with regards to Magomed Ankalaev, in his professional career, he has had 20 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 1 no contest. And inside of the UFC, he has had 14 fights where he managed to win 11 of them, had 1 draw, had 1 loss, and had 1 no contest. Every single outcome you could possibly have, Ankalaev has seen it all within the UFC. But prior to the UFC, Magomed Ankalaev fought at the AFC. Now, not the conference in American football. The AFC basically stands for Ahmad Fight Club. And at Ahmad Fight Club, Magomed Ankalaev managed to have 5 fights where he was champion, defended his belt, and then basically got signed to the UFC. Made his debut on March 18, 2018, where he ended up fighting Paul Craig. And in this fight, in his debut, basically dominated Paul Craig. Had good exchanges on the feet, had good exchanges on the ground, was basically cruising to a unanimous decision victory. And then it happened. Then he got himself stuck in an arm triangle and ended up tapping, giving Paul Craig the victory, handing Magomed Ankalaev his first ever defeat within his professional career. That stoppage was at 4 minutes 59 seconds of the 3rd round, meaning that the only thing Magomed Ankalaev had to do was hold on for 1 more second, and to this day would still be undefeated within the UFC. That is absurd. Where the official stoppage is at 4 minutes and 59 seconds. So the very last second of the fight, Ankalaev tapped. And basically due to 1 second, he's not undefeated inside of his professional mixed martial arts career and his UFC career. But then, in impressive fashion, Magomed Ankalaev bounced back. Because in his next 3 fights, had 2 brutal knockout victories over Marcin Prachnio, where he delivered a devastating right hand, and against Dolce Lungiambula, where he delivered a front kick to the chin, blasting Dolce's head back, and then basically finished it off with a few devastating punches. And then in his 4th fight on this winning streak, he fought Ian Cutelaba. Now, if you missed it, interesting to say the least. Haven't really seen something like this happen in all of the years that I've watched UFC. So Magomed Ankalaev faces Ian Cutelaba. In the 1st round, Magomed actually hits Cutelaba, but none of the punches land clean. So what Cutelaba ends up doing is he ends up playing possum, where he basically acts as if he is rocked, act as if he is stung, and then basically in hope that he would pull Ankalaev in and then capitalize, catching Ankalaev with a counter shot. However, didn't notify the ref that this was his plan, seeing that the ref genuinely thought that Ian Cutelaba was rocked, was dazed, and then ended up calling the fight, handing Magomed Ankalaev a TKO victory. So then obviously, what did they have to do? They have to run it back. So they run it back. Magomed Ankalaev takes on Ian Cutelaba in a rematch. And this time, Ian Cutelaba was rather thankful for the fact that the referee was there. Because had the referee not been there, Ian might have ceased to exist. Seeing that Magomed Ankalaev ended up knocking out Ian Cutelaba, and he knocked him out clean, blasted his doors off, cracked his case. And had it not been for the ref might have ceased to exist. It might have completely ceased to exist. So then, after knocking out Ian Kutalaba, after putting an exclamation mark to that sentence, Magomed Ankalaev then went on another 3-fight winning streak and beat the likes of Nikita Krylov, beat the likes of Thiago Santos, Volkan Oezdemir, all coveted light heavyweight contenders, especially with regards to Volkan Oezdemir, especially with regards to Thiago Santos, who has fought the best of the best, who has seen everything, ended up beating all of them by a unanimous decision. And then was scheduled to fight Anthony Smith. Ended up beating Anthony Smith in what was a pretty dominant display by Magomed Ankalaev, as we've seen throughout his winning streak inside of the UFC. Absolute dominance. Now, sure, Anthony Smith ended up breaking his ankle in that fight, so no way Anthony Smith would have ever been able to win that fight, especially with a broken ankle. But then, obviously, Magomed Ankalaev decided to capitalize and then basically won the fight via ground and pound, won the fight via TKO punches, and then got handed a title fight against Jan Blachowicz. Now, at the time, 2022, a very odd year for the light heavyweight division, especially that time frame, due to the fact that some champions had to vacate their belt due to various reasons. So let me take you through it. Yuri Prochazka ends up beating Glover Teixeira, is crowned the new light heavyweight champion of the UFC, decides to vacate the belt due to the fact that he has a shoulder injury and will probably be out of the UFC for a long time. Then the UFC decides that they're going to make Magomed Ankalaev versus Jan Blachowicz for the vacant UFC light heavyweight championship. And in this fight was odd, seeing that to this day, people still argue who won the fight, and majority of the people feel like Magomed Ankalaev got hard done by. Seeing that it was a fight of two halves, where at the start of the fight, Magomed Ankalaev got his legs blasted, where Jan Blachowicz looked like he wanted to put his shin through Ankalaev's legs and basically blasted him with leg kicks up until the point where not only one but both of Magomed Ankalaev's legs was compromised, and he was struggling to stand on both of them due to the leg kicks that Jan landed. Where the Ankalaev was standing orthodox, whether he was standing southpaw, Jan just kept on blasting at his shins, blasting at his calves, and Magomed was in trouble. But then ended up doing the old switcheroo, basically took Jan Blachowicz down, started to dominate the fight, and to the consensus of, I think, majority of people, majority of UFC fans, a lot of people had it scored 3-2 for Magomed Ankalaev. The only problem is the judges did as well, but in one of those rounds that Jan won, judges gave him a 10-8, basically meaning that the fight ended in a draw. So obviously Magomed Ankalaev felt hard done by. Even Jan Blachowicz said he felt like he lost the fight. Point is, Magomed wasn't champion, wasn't crowned the new champion, so the belt was still vacant. And then they had to schedule Glover Teixeira versus Jamal Hill for the vacant belt. Jamal ends up beating Glover. Then Jamal had to vacate his belt due to the fact that he tore his Achilles, and then the belt was vacant once again. Then they had to schedule Yuri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira for the vacant belt, and then we all know what happened in both instances where Yuri fought Alex. So then Magomed Ankalaev felt a setback, had to bounce back, ended up fighting Johnny Walker, not the whiskey, the Brazilian. Ended up fighting Johnny Walker at UFC 294. And what happened is, they were in a wrestling exchange. Up against the fence, Johnny Walker had one knee on the ground, therefore being considered a downed opponent, and Magomed Ankalaev fed him one of his knees. The ref basically stopped it, had a look at Johnny Walker, took a lot of time, and everybody thought that the fight would probably resume, seeing that it was a hell of a knee. Johnny Walker ended up eating a devastating knee, but he looked fine, looked like he had recovered. But then they brought in the doctor, the same doctor that stopped the fight earlier on the card, looked at Johnny Walker, asked Johnny where he was, some words lost in translation, told the referee to stop the fight, and the ref waved it, fight was done. And even after that, Johnny Walker insisted on walking towards Ankalaev because he wanted to continue fighting. And then, obviously we had some tension, we had some exchange of words, and then once again they had to reschedule the fight. A very prominent occurrence within Magomed Ankalaev's career is whenever you rematch him, he will probably send you to go meet your entire bloodline. Probably send you to Mars to go speak to the Rover. Because that is exactly what he did. In the rematch against Johnny Walker, ended up delivering two massive right hands. One to knock him down, and the other one to knock his soul down. And then ended up winning the fight. So whenever you fight Ankalaev, and they schedule a rematch, decline that phone call. Just don't even look into it. Just throw the phone away. Because devastation heading your way. And then after the Johnny Walker fight, ended up fighting Alexander Rakic in what was a very lackluster performance from both men. But I'd say it was probably more in the fault of Alexander Rakic, seeing that Rakic was very hesitant, very gun shy, didn't throw a lot, and Magomed Ankalaev, there's only so much he can do, but ended up winning the fight, warranting him his second opportunity to face Alex Pereira for a UFC light heavyweight championship belt, his second opportunity to fight for the belt at light heavyweight, in probably what will be Alex Pereira's toughest opponent today within the UFC, seeing that Magomed Ankalaev is a devastating striker, has a lot of power, has exceptional timing, and has a good guard, where he's not really compromising himself whenever he fights, doesn't really get into situations where he is somewhat susceptible to getting absolutely mauled. With that being said, do not think that Ankalaev will actually stand and fight with Pereira, even though he said he would. It would be insane, especially seeing what Jan Blachowicz did to Ankalaev's legs, to both of his legs, with those calf kicks. And we know for a fact that Alex Pereira has probably one of the most devastating leg kicks in the history of the sport. You would definitely assume that Alex would capitalize on that specific component of the fight, especially if Ankalaev decides that he wants to stand and fight with Pereira. And also seeing that Ankalaev has a major advantage whenever he decides to wrestle, especially with Alex Pereira. I mean, Ankalaev managed to take Blachowicz down and held him down. So he would definitely be able to do that with Pereira. No man, apart from Israel Adesanya, is winning that fight on the feet. No man. That man doesn't exist apart from Izzy. So the road to victory has to be Ankalaev has to take him down, dominate him on the ground, and either win via unanimous decision or win via TKO. But there is no way he is actually contemplating fighting Alex on the feet. But that's basically the video for Magomed Ankalaev, his journey within the UFC, his journey with outside of the UFC, and his professional mixed martial arts career. Let me know in the comment section, early prediction, who do you think is going to win, Magomed Ankalaev or Alex Pereira, via either stoppage, knockout, submission? What do you think is going to be the result? I would really appreciate that. Enjoy the rest of your day.